Let's see here. Um, okay. Are you guys seeing my Google Drive here?
Yeah, just to
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So what I wanted to start with, I wanted to do just a quick refresh as we're getting into the new year on a couple of resources for you guys and make sure everybody knows where to go to find things. And so this is the drive that I need to go through and double check all of the permissions on here, but everybody should have access to this link. And so anytime we update documents in here, you automatically get the updated versions of all that. But I suspect this is a Google Drive folder. This resource is very underutilized on our team. And again, there's no, I don't get click revenue every time you guys get in here. This is a resource purely for you to grow your business. But this should be a launching pad on an almost daily basis if you are new in our business, and it should be a place that you go to pull materials from, even if you're existing in our business. Frankly, that's where I go to pull presentations, things like that. So I want to take you through a couple of things and kind of bump this video up. So to me, the launching point starts with our team playbook, and this is kind of our current version of a living, breathing document. And I've added a couple things, especially on the first page, that I wanted to share with this group. And so the first thing is just I went through the other day and rebranded it Alpha Syndicate. And I'm going to read this first paragraph because we announced this at our dinner, but I've just updated this a little bit. It says, "Congratulations on becoming part of our team, Alpha Syndicate." What's behind the name? A syndicate is a group of people who work together as a team. In the investment world, alpha is a measurement of the outperformance of an investment. In other words, adding alpha is akin to adding value. Our teammates are the difference makers in the lives of others. We are a guide to their rudder and the wind behind their sail. We believe everyone we encounter is better off having a relationship with us as a result of what we teach and how we serve. And we may keep working on that or modifying that, but I wanted to get something in there. But I hope that we start being intentional about building a team culture. And as long as kind of we took to come up with this name, or I realize I'm the one that kind of came up with it, it had to be something that meant something. And I just love what that stands for. I love how it's cutting edge and it's edgy. It's kind of interesting. It's going to look cool on all kinds of apparel and stuff we do. It's intriguing. You walk around with something on your sleeve or your chest that says Alpha Syndicate. People are like, what's the Alpha Syndicate, right? It's just a conversation starter if you're doing this right. So, think hats, think all kinds of things to come. But it actually means something. Like I'm part of an elite team of financial professionals that make a huge impact in people's lives, and love to share with you more about that at some point. And it just sounds different than everything else in our industry, and it's going to be fun to represent this brand as we go to Dallas and future events as a team, and of course, hopefully take a bigger group with us every time. But I just want you to think about the alpha, right? Think about the value add. And that should start with you. That should start with your goals in your life. How is this platform adding alpha to your life? Like, how are we helping you make more money, buy back more of your time, go through some personal growth, ultimately travel and have experiences and grow with your spouse and get to build something together. I mean, there are just so many elements of things that you can accomplish here. And I'll say this, it's important, that's you guys probably the dominant reason I'm here, amidst all kinds of other things I could go do in business or in this industry, is I just love everything I just said. Because I can't replicate all those things anywhere else. I can't replicate the team, the events, the spirit of building something together in community. This idea that I've got a role in helping the company grow, heavily involved in some things happening right now. I've got a role, obviously, in helping the team grow, and I've got a role in helping my own business grow because I'm in business just like you guys are. And I just love everything that goes into that. And so I'm excited about this because I think to me it's more than just a name. It's a lot more than a logo. And hopefully this embodies something that becomes a bigger part of your life. Because as this business became a bigger part of my life early on, and it became a dominant part of my life for the early years. Obviously, it set up everything else in my life that is important. The next thing I've added on here, actually, I'm going to credit to Ryan Wagner. Ryan did a training a couple weeks ago where he was just going through recruiting a new teammate, and he talked about three keys to a great business platform. And I just wrote those down, kind of a gist of what he said. But I just love
Hey,
how this lays
Tyson.
out. Yeah,
Hey, before you go any further, I don't think we can see your screen. I know on,
seriously.
on my on my end, it's just a black screen. So when you click share, don't click
Yeah.
anything else. Just click share. There
How
you
about
go.
that? All right. All right, we're gonna run that back from the top, guys. Okay. So I'm gonna just kidding. Oh man, you guys, if you can make the kind of money I make here with being as technologically deficient as I am, that should give you a lot of confidence. And at some point in your life, you just have to laugh about those things. Anyways, you guys can see what I was reading there. But to Ryan's kind of contribution here, three keys to a great business platform. Number one, it solves a big problem that creates a cause worth getting passionate about solving. And so think about it, like to me, my vantage point in this document is to me when we recruit somebody new on our team, this is the first thing I want to show, I want to put in their lap. And it's something they could take home and go through with their spouse or read on their own, and really sets it up. So before we get deep into our business and what we do specifically for the client or for the new recruit, like just if you're going to analyze a business opportunity in a world where there's endless business opportunities out there, does it solve a big problem? And is it a cause worth solving, worth getting passionate about? I mean, that creates the opportunity, that creates the energy behind what you're doing. Does it allow you to start part-time and transition to full-time? Because that's going to take away a ton of opportunities. I mean, out there that you have to buy into something, you have to leverage yourself, you have to make this huge commitment to get into it. Or the other side of the spectrum, you've got to just, it's just a home-based business. It's just something that probably you could never really call a career. Or I'm thinking a lot of the multi-level industry where, I mean, even eventually there's some examples of people making great money, but it's not a professional career. You're not going to have an office, you're not going to have a clientele, you're not going to do what we do. And then number three, it allows you to scale. I did a whole talk out in Vegas to at TFA Exchange about scale, and that's going to be the dominant thing I keep talking about in future events. But those three things, they sound simple and easy, and I think Ryan, you put that so well. But that separates our business from so many opportunities out there. Because even if you find something that's the first two, I can think of. I mean, guys, think of it this way. Think of like real estate. Does real estate solve a big problem? Sure. I mean, you could say that. I mean, you're helping people find homes and get in the right neighborhoods and schools, and there's a huge value there. And high-end real estate agents that know communities, that know little nuances. There's a lot of value there. I mean, especially if you're coming in from out of town and don't know the area. Does it allow you to start part-time and transition to full-time? Yeah. Yeah. Most real estate agents are part-time real estate agents, you know, but does it allow you to scale? That's a hard no. I mean, there's zero scale in real estate, because it's just every man by himself, every woman by himself, hunting down transactions, starting every year at zero. And so we could go on and on with different opportunities out there. But man, just look at number one. Imagine spending your career, whether you're an entrepreneur or an employee somewhere, just doing trading hours for dollars, buying something for a dollar, selling it for two, keeping the lights on somewhere, but you're not part of any kind of a cause that solves a problem we're solving. Like, I mean, there's an element to that provides this endurance and energy that I think is incredible. And so I don't want to lose track of that. I'm not going to go through the rest of this because most of this is exactly the same. I do anticipate making some updates after Dallas because every year they launch new videos, new tech, new whatever. But I think using all these wealth wave tools to contact is something that's probably easily underutilized on our team. In fact, I'm just realizing right here I've got a couple of words I got to update there to get rid of that impact, which was always a placeholder. But I want to go down here to I guess I've got a couple different links, but I'll go back up here. So if you're in your the fast start, the first 45 days here. So there's two tabs on here. One tab or hyperlink will take you right to the Google Drive folder I just shared. The other will take you directly to our YouTube page, and that's where I wanted to move to. And so the Google Drive folder has some other resources, like our one-on-one presentations, some other charts and graphs, and we could probably add more to that. But I want to now take it to the YouTube page. So if you click this link and go over here, so Alec, did my screen bump over to YouTube here or anybody else? Okay. Guys, this is definitely underutilized. So one of the reasons that we have done these trainings is A, for a community, or number one, staying in touch, especially in this transitional period of not having an office. But once we have our office, some of you guys are still remote. Number two, it's to provide real-time updates and training and all that. But number three, it's to build a library where you guys have resources to go back to, and people that join us today can go back. And we started with like 4 videos last year, and yes, we've built a pretty solid library here. I gotta hire a consultant to help with some thumbnail picks because there's some gems on here. Like especially this one, Alec, like recap of 2024 Cincinnati. That's a gem. I don't know if there's a way I can pin that to the top, but anyways, you guys. I bet this is underutilized on our team. In fact, I had a teammate ask about a specific product training this morning, and I don't know enough about that product to know if it'd be a fit. I'm like, well, have you looked at the videos? There's a couple videos on that actual product, happen to be a variable annuity. So if I want to know more about a variable annuity, or I've got this client out there, I'm not sure if it'd be a fit. Man, get down in here, and I mean, you gotta scroll through a bit, but I mean, training variable annuities, training just on an income version, training just on a fee version, training on a no fee version. You got 4 videos right there. There's an introduction, 5 videos just on annuities, and you could kind of get through, spend a little bit of time, update some things. We got trainings on IULs, we've done trainings on VULs, we've got market-based training. So there's a ton of product training. Maybe there's a way in here, Alec. We create some folders or do something as time goes on, or manage the videos. We can play around with that. But there's obviously a ton of stuff on how to recruit and build, how to run a one-on-one training. I mean, go back and I've got a whole hour here on how to make an initial contract, a contact. Here's a training. This should be used. I mean, this has 72 views, you guys. Like, I mean, that should be way up. This is me giving our one-on-one presentation. So if you're about to go talk to somebody, you're about to go have lunch with somebody, and your activity isn't super high, and you just want to watch a refresher just to get a couple phrases in your mind, or maybe you're getting ready to make some phone calls like tonight or tomorrow night, and you're part-time in the business. I mean, I'd be hopping on here and I'd get into 10 or 15 minutes of a video. You don't need to watch a whole thing or take a whole hour, but just, sometimes I just find like getting into a rhythm or hearing somebody say some things, or I mean, guys, this is really important. And just for context, to give you an idea, you guys are going to laugh at this. But when I first started the business, you used to buy this kit, and I mean, this is pre all the tech we have today. And so, I mean, it was probably $100 or $150, and the company had this kit that came in the mail, and I have the original kit. I don't know if I still have it anywhere, but the original kit that I had actually had cassette tapes, believe it or not. It had like one VHS like video kind of thing, and it had audio cassette tapes, and then brochures and some different materials. And then very quickly there was like a CD version of it, and then they started getting into more tech and internet stuff. But I used to have these cassette tapes of the founders of our company, of Rich Thawley, of Monty Home. This was kind of pre-Ed Milet. There used to be some CDs of him as he kind of came on. But when I first joined the company, he was really just getting going. And I used to listen. I kid you guys not. My first year in business, I listened to some of those cassettes, just hearing these guys just talk about the business, what they were doing, and their mentalities, their tone of voice, their conviction in their voice. When I'm up on an island up here in Toledo, and my leader's 2 hours away, and nobody in my life is taking me seriously or thinks I'm even doing a real career. that was my only connection to like mentorship. And like, I didn't have access to calling anybody other than my direct leader that recruited me. I didn't have access to call anybody and say, hey, tell me about this. How are you doing that? Um, and you guys, if I didn't have that, I mean, I don't know if I'd pin my whole career on those cassette tapes, but they absolutely gave me an element of building confidence and conviction. And you guys, for me, just this idea of I'm not the only one doing this, and somebody else, and even with even fewer resources and even less technology, which by the way, the thing about technology, you guys, is that was high tech in 2000, right? That was convenient in 2000. Like I could pop a cassette tape and listen to a multimillionaire talk to me about how like he didn't think, man, this is a crappy cassette tape. That's all you had, right? So the idea is we'll be laughing at like Zoom, 5 years from now when it's like holograms or whatever. Like, but the reality is, it's about the information, and it's about this idea that I could listen to somebody else and I would match their tone, and I'd borrow their confidence. And then when I'm out having lunch that day with somebody, which might have been my only activity of the whole day, that might have been my one appointment was like I'm meeting somebody that like is working full time when they have the time to do it over lunch. And I would listen to a cassette tape for 20, 25 minutes and I'd roll in and I would just try to borrow that conviction, that confidence. So hopefully I can provide some of that for you guys. Hopefully you guys can watch some of this stuff and start building your knowledge base because there's a compounding to that. And one of the things that has happened in my career is knowledge builds on knowledge and builds on knowledge. And then all of a sudden you just start having a level of confidence where you can drop me into any meeting in front of any prospect, have any conversation, and just I can just instantly go right to where we're at. I don't need to prep for it. I don't need to think about it. I don't need to do a refresher because it's been so continually used in me. So I just want to encourage you guys. I'm not going to do an accountability session on how many videos you watch. We're not going to do a log, or this isn't some like corporate training program. I'm just telling you, if you want to make serious money here and go control the rest of your life, this is a resource available to you. And those that want to do that are going to get in here and start spending some time. And instead of scrolling Facebook and YouTube and watching random videos about random stuff, start watching videos on our business and have this in the background when you're working out or on the treadmill. Play this when you're driving somewhere in the car. Start being more intentional about infusing your brain every day or every couple days with some aspect of this business. And by the way, go to WealthWave's website, which is a link right on our playbook. And you want to watch leaders other than me? I'm tired of hearing this Tyson guy. No problem. There's a whole library of WealthWave leaders talking about similar things. But this is a practice of somebody that wants to win. That's just what it is. And so I just want to remind you guys of this resource, and I'm going to keep referring people back because this is part of scale, right? If we're going to celebrate the scale of our business, if every single time I have a rep that wants to talk to me about, hey, can you give me a refresher course on a VUL? I don't have 30 to 45 minutes to do that one-off refresher course just hypothetically about the product. That's not, there's no scale there. So this video is right there, and we'll keep updating these things as time goes on. But does that make sense to you guys? All right. Any questions before we move on here?
Just want to mention that I've been using the YouTube page. It's very helpful. I had questions about the VUL with Nationwide. Looking to write a couple of those, so I was able to reference back to that video a couple of weeks ago.
Awesome, David. So you would credit the YouTube page for your $100,000 annual income?
I'd probably be at like 98 without it. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. All right, you guys. Hey, I wanna transition here. I'm gonna stop my share. Um, so what I want to kind of pop into, and I'm going to kind of turn this over to Ryan and Alec. I kind of texted with Ryan a bit and spoke with Alec this morning about, I was just listening to him. I'm going to tee it up. I'm going to have kind of Alec start this and then they can go back and forth. But I was just asking Alec what he's got going on in his business. And I think without even realizing it, he provided some updates to me that I'm like, man, you got to share that with the team because I want the team to hear kind of where your mentality's at, what your activity's looking like. And so I'm just going to kind of turn it over to Alec, let him take it over from there, and hopefully get a good conversation going about current activity and where we're at.
Yeah, so the past many years in my business here, really the whole time I've been in business has been kind of a roller coaster ride of um having a whole lot of nothing going on and then get a couple pieces of business going and then dropping everything on the front end to do those couple pieces, get paid on it, and then realize that I have no prospects to talk to and work on. So it's a couple months of no income, low activity, 1 month of high activity, get paid, and then go right back to the cycle again. And my goal is to not have to be in that spot anymore where a month goes by and I'm like gasping for air, and then the next month I make 10 grand. I want to be a lot more consistent. And so that's when, over the past 12 to 18 months, I've been a lot more focused on advisory business. But leading up to the conversation I had with Tyson today, I just kind of unintentionally have kind of gotten myself where I've got a little bit of everything going on. So I've got a VUL getting submitted, and that's a fair size case. But I've got past year and a half has been a goal of picking up about $250,000 a month, and it's about $2.5 million a year. I'm happy with that. Um, Today alone, I've got $250,000 getting moved, and that's today, and what we got going on the rest of the week. And so I've got some stuff that's getting moved, getting checks getting sent, getting delivered, business getting submitted. I've got paperwork in motion right now that I requested today for a client. But then I've got some new stuff coming in, and so I think just knowing who I am and knowing the value I have to bring to people has allowed for more to kind of passively come to me. Referrals are coming in, but then people are kind of recognizing me more as an advisor, and that's helping me feel a little more confident of, okay, great, I've got some stuff going on. That's fine, but who else can I be reaching out to? So, got a meeting tomorrow with someone. It's a friend from college. Her father passed away back in, I want to say September. And she reached out to me last week and said, hey, I was named the executor of the estate. My mom is still living. She has no interest in talking about money. She's very emotional about all of this still. So she asked me to be in charge. I know nothing about it. And so we're meeting here tomorrow afternoon to get that process going. And then I had a referral coming in, a young guy that's making some decent money. Friday, we're getting the process started. Um, all of that to say, I think I used to be really excited when someone met with me and had 100 grand, and then just kind of like immediately took my foot off the gas. And I think it's just funny and very correlated. At the same time, last week, Tyson had shared that I'm trying to pick up about $10 million this year. That I've got like a tracker on one of my spreadsheets that's like, okay, I got 250,000 coming in, but like I got to keep moving. So I'm constantly in tune with, one, who do I need to talk to, who do I need to follow up with, and I think this is going to fall right in line with what Ryan's talking about. But right now, they're all just numbers to me. So if someone, I'd love to be able to say, if someone told me they had 5 million bucks to move over today, I wouldn't just like, all right, I can take the next 6 months off. It's just like, all right, keep moving right along. And I think that's going to help me, 6 and 12 months from now, be able to look back and see my income continue to grow and increase. And I feel like I'm not comfortable where I'm at anymore. So I would like to envision that stuff's going to continue to come in, and my income's going to go up, but I'm also going to be, reaching out to my teammates and helping them get going in business too, and, help them elevate themselves as well. So this is just 1 week of what's going on. But I had shared all of that with Tyson. He's like, dude, no, like you used to like get a 50 grand rollover and take the next 6 months off. No, this is a really big deal.
Oh man. And just in case you start getting comfortable a little bit, I'm gonna have Leah personally work with Caitlin on making her uncomfortable where you're at. So that'll have a role, I think. Pull a wind behind your
Can't,
sails.
I can't wait.
I'm gonna have Leah start introducing Caitlin to some brands she likes and some stores and some rub a little lifestyle on her. All right. Hey, that's awesome though. That's a big deal. And I hope you guys can tell there's a momentum and a confidence in where Alex at right now, and I think it's no coincidence that he's starting to compound this activity. And the thing I wanted to highlight was in everything he just updated, he's got brand new appointments, he's got business he's like finishing out, getting over the goal line, getting paid on. He's got cases he's in the middle of. He's involved with teammates that he's recently recruited there. I mean, so he's touching every element of our pipeline on a real-time basis. And you guys, that's the magic. That's the magic. Because the trap everybody here falls into is they have the confidence that comes up or down, but then they get a couple things going. They get target locked on why this person's supposed to get back to me. I mean, Don, this gets back to what you had brought up a bit. This person's supposed to get back to me on this. That person said they're going to talk to their wife and get me a time. And we just kind of get stuck on like, I'm just going to kind of wait till I hear back from those two people. And we just have to say, I mean, every day I have a pipeline. We've done this in past trainings and we can do it in future trainings. But anytime I got a window, pocket time, and sometimes those things pop up unrealized, something reschedules, whatever. And I'll just scan through a couple different lists I have of like stuff hanging out my pipeline, things coming up, things. Could I follow up with this person? Could I push that thing forward? Do I need to check in here? Do I need to? And it just keeps the real time flow. And you guys, I can't remember a time in my career. I mean, it's been 20 years since I haven't had what Alex had going on some level. Like at all times, I've got new people coming up. Like because I was shopping for tile. I guess it was Friday. I went to a tile store because there's a specific tile I need for the office. Kind of led me to the store I hadn't been to before. And I just, called them this morning to make sure they were open, went in and struck up a conversation with a guy. We found the tile I was looking for and really quickly gets into like, well, what do you guys do? And I told him, well, we do, financial planning and wealth management and help a lot of small business owners, just kind of weave that in there. And he starts asking me some more questions. And then before you know it, he's like, I think my wife and I need to come talk to you, like, because we've got this guy at Savage, and he kind of talked about the origin story of that, but we've never really been fully bought into the guy is the gist of what he said, and he's like, I just feel like I'm paying too much in taxes, I'm not saving enough money, and he just went through some details, and I'm like, well, I'd love to sit down with you and your wife sometime. Let's make that happen. He's like, for sure. And you guys, it's like it's prospecting as you go, you know? And so I got new activity. I'm always working through current cases. I mean, I submitted stuff 3 or 4 cases just last week. I've got my existing clients I'm touching base on and moving on. I'm constantly touching base with you individually, throughout the week with you guys, and it's like, dude, that produces this like this momentum, this inertia behind your business that doesn't really stop. And that's the key to cash flow, you guys. That's the key to a business versus a self-employed commission-based sales career, right? Why would you go into commission sales when you're within an industry that provides all of the elements of a platform we have? It's like what I said at TFA Exchange. Why would you be in an industry that like champions the idea? Our industry is literally built around recurring income and choose to be only in commission sales with one license. Like I just never understood that. So you start there part-time, but you build it up. And to foreshadow where Alex going, what Alec is going to do, just like David Wynn's going to go to 250,000 in probably 2 years, where it took him 10 years to go to 100 grand or whatever it's been. Alec's going to make a quantum leap as well in team growth and cash flow and everything else. But then Alec's going to start getting super focused on, okay, I know the way now. Now I'm going to help people that I bring on go through these things faster than I did, and that's going to be his primary motivation. And you guys, that's where scale comes from. That's where building comes from. So, Ryan, did you want to add to that? Ryan Wagner, I think you had some things that along prospecting you wanted to touch on.
Yeah, I think what I wanted to highlight for the group has kind of more to do with the leading indicators of our contacting and follow up. Everything Alec is saying is awesome. Those are the lagging indicators of our business, pushing business through, picking up assets, seeing points in business. As I thought through just my efforts at the beginning of this year relative to, just previous years and even dating back to the comments Tyson made on infusing our minds with purpose and thinking in a new way prior to when you join this business, because the vast majority of us come at this business with an employee mindset. That's how I came in. Many of you are obviously still in an employment scenario. And something that I did very early on wasn't cassettes, but it was CDs, is I had a, 25-minute commute when I was still working and part-time in this business. And what I infused my brain with was um, the mental toughness secrets of Steve Siebold, which some of you have probably heard of. Those things were always in my tape deck. So back and forth every day, 5 days a week. I was learning how to reprogram my thinking. And that's not like if you listen to his teachings, it's not about changing, going from like he's very quick to kind of tell people this isn't about being an elitist. This isn't about, saying you're better than anyone. It's learning how to train yourself to basically absorb adversity different than your everyday person. We talked a little bit about that last week with Tyson mentioning, just the repetitions that you go through in life, challenges in business and family and kids. The more you do that, the more it's just the way of life. And I have a lot of that going on too. And so I can definitely speak to that. So, my comments, might not be able to be fully captured in the remaining time today, but it was really just more about those leading indicators behind contacting and follow up. And my takeaway for those listening for the recording is what's your why behind the contacting and follow up that you're making. I actually jumped on Bill Mitchell's Thursday call that he recorded. I don't normally actually listen to those, but for whatever reason, I decided to listen to it. It's pretty short. I got a couple nuggets out of it. Talked a little bit about Dallas, talked about some announcements. He talked about the keynote speaker that's going to be at that meeting. And he made a very interesting um, kind of just prelude to what we're probably going to hear in Dallas about what that speaker talks about. He says most of us instinctively think we have a discipline problem, discipline in our eating, our working out, our time management, and we've actually misinterpreted that into having a purpose problem. So if we really step back and examine our lives and ask, why are we doing XYZ? Why are we choosing to eat a certain way? Why are we choosing this workout program over this one? Why am I contacting somebody? Why am I on this phone call right now? I mean, you could just ask all these why questions. And if you have a strong enough purpose, discipline is the result of having a big purpose.
Wow.
And that was really kind of the key thing that struck me. And I said, okay, I've always really known kind of what my purpose was in this business, and it's evolved a tremendous amount. Early on when I trained with Phil, as Tyson knows, he was quick to tell me, you have to build a reservoir of why you're in this business. I still remember one of my first notebooks. I would just, start that list. I was single at the time, no marriage, no family, no kids. And that's what I mean by my why has evolved through the years. And I think it's very, very helpful for all of us to remember, why are we here? I think it sounds so much like a trivial question, But you know, Alec, you're making these contacts, you're seeing these results because you've subconsciously probably evaluated why you're here. That's spilling over into your identity. That's spilling over into your confidence, and that's spilling over into your activity. And so there's a process I think that all of us may not quite be aware of. It's like I said, most of it's happening subconscious to us. And I didn't mean to go all, psychological on everyone this morning, but I've always enjoyed that aspect of our business on why we're here. You know, why do we believe what we believe? You know, why are we going to, present strategies to somebody, not knowing, how they work? And so, Joe and Alec and the three of us were on a quick call yesterday and we were talking just a little bit about that. Once you have a certain strategy implemented for a client, you know how it works, how it's gonna perform, the ins and outs, you're gonna be more inclined to reach out to other people so that you can put others in that strategy. And so it's this kind of domino effect of you can't build a why until you just determine, again, maybe it's just family reasons, maybe it's, accelerate some debt pay down, maybe it's just fulfillment, or a combination of all three. But I think it's really helpful for us to kind of pause every now and again and examine why we're here and why we believe what we believe, because it's going to determine our actions and our attitude. And we all know, like, those are the two things that we are in control of. I don't have any control over what my prospect says or when they're going to be available, but I'm in control of that front end, that volume, that, that input, if you will. And the output is obviously, going to be dictated by just how much I input on the front end. So, that's a very small, I think, condensed version of kind of the takeaways I took from Bill's call, what I'm applying to my own, personal business within just activity. Just doing a ton of seed planning right now, trying to elevate my identity in terms of who I'm reaching out to and whom I believe that I want to spend my time with in terms of, just age and, where they're at in their career and whom I think that, the circles that they are in. So I'm, being very careful of who I prospect, and I'm also being careful what I say in terms of, just taking some, kind of indirect swings at them, saying you've probably got your ducks in a row, you're probably very happy, things like that. We can probably do a whole training on just the words of this business and what you say when you contact. But I wanted it to be more about, what's going on between the 6 inches between our ears relative to our activity, and how, stories like what Alec is experiencing and, others on the team that are getting some fruit, that fruit starts with what you're sowing inside.
That's great stuff. I love it, Ryan. Anybody else have any thoughts or comments on that?
Everyone's just stunned.
This is a mic drop, man. There's a lot of good stuff there. There is. And and I just want to encourage you guys, maybe this is a good ending point, is to I want to think about what you said a little bit more and dwell on that, but that idea of connecting purpose to discipline, because the things that I do very routinely that are difficult, I don't have to, I just do them because they're important to me. They're connected to my purpose. Obviously a lot of family things fall into that category. Um, and it's really that's a really profound statement. I look forward to. I actually don't. You know more about the speaker than I do. I wasn't on that training, so I look forward to hearing that guy. But you guys, just immersing yourself in this knowledge, getting on these calls, making this a bigger part of your life, you will build more than you think you will here. You'll get your arms around this, and you start getting into personal development, you start connecting what you want to what you're doing on a daily basis here, and it's a leverage tool unlike I've seen anything else out there. And so I wish you could do it. I wish you guys could experience what making, more money than your family needs to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars feels like. I wish you could feel like traveling the world and then doing it again and again and again and again and again, year after year after year, and going back to your favorite destinations and making memories and traditions. And I hope you can experience that in the short life that you live. And and there's so many things that come from this business, right? I wish you could feel what it feels like to have impacted hundreds and hundreds, if not several thousand people, but certainly hundreds and hundreds directly. And what that trust, what relationships feel like 20 years in, where somebody just trusts you implicitly in whatever you say they're going to go do. And I don't say that from any sort of ego or power, but it's like it's this idea of like you can't buy that level of trust. There's no presentation to get there in a month with somebody, but 10, 15, 20 years of delivering results and service and being there and not going anywhere and always telling the truth and all of those things fly in formation of building these trust relationships that are priceless. They're priceless to me, and they're incredibly financially valuable, but they're priceless to me emotionally. I just don't know anywhere else we can go and get all of those things outside of this business, and so it is worth the struggles and the difficulties and the arguments with your spouse and the late nights and fitting this in between life and other things. It's worth all those things, guys. I promise you it is. So few things in life are actually worth the price of admission. This is one of them. So that's my challenge for you guys. And great conversation today. I appreciate everybody that spoke up and poured into this. And we'll be talking to you guys all soon.
Take care, everybody.